So, you've got a little empath on your hands, and they're having trouble dealing with social settings. Things are overwhelming for them. Or maybe you're noticing this in yourself, or one of your family members or friends, where they're getting a little bit more withdrawn, where they're not really wanting to go into the grocery stores or go to the movies or go to these public places where it's really rackety. Maybe they're not wanting to go to school. It's possible that there's some high sensory overstimulation going on. Now, there's lots of ways that people choose to describe this. Highly sensitive person, which you can TED Talk. There's an excellent TED Talk on highly sensitive people, HSP. There is high sensory. You might have heard that in the spectrum aspect of mental health and cognitive dysfunctions. High sensory. It's another way. Intuitive, which some people like that word and some people don't like that word. Empathic, another either favorite word or really, really not favorite word. I'm not a huge fan of the word empathic, just because I've used it, I've seen it used in a way that's sort of, well, I'm better than you, I'm an empath. And you see this in the alternative health sector sometimes. Drives me a little nuts, if I'm honest. But there is validity to it, and I really do think that the word is a very accurate word. But it all comes down to the nervous system in the brain and how much we are taking in as a human being. And it's usually a subconscious thing. Now, we can train ourselves. Absolutely. You've got I know some brilliant Reiki practitioners out there, and body talk practitioners, and acupuncturists who are just exquisite at picking up on a person's, I don't know, dysfunctions, I suppose, and describing them with the language that they have been trained in. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. We need these people around. Just have discernment. I personally am going to tackle this today from a nervous system point of view, where, yeah, we can actually intentionally train ourselves to be high sensory, to be picking up on other people's energies, to be picking up on other people's nervous system fluctuations. What do I mean by that? Ooh, stay tuned. We're going to explain this all. But there are times, many, many, many times, and I'm seeing it in the younger generation that's just coming up into sort of puberty now. I'm seeing a lot of it, where you've got this young empath and you're going, what's going on? And they seem to be reactive to everybody's moods, and if there's the TV on and there's that and you got to do that, then they seem to just have higher requirements. Honestly, they just needed to be a little quieter and more peaceful. Some of us can handle a whole lot of racket. Some of us can handle a whole lot of vibiness. Some of us can handle a whole lot of behavior issues in other people or acting out, and others just can't. Maybe it's because they were born that way, or maybe it's because they subconsciously developed their own empathic skills, their own sensitivities, their sensories in a certain way as a result of being in an environment where it was necessary to have those valuable sensory skills. Empaths are skilled. High sensory individuals are skilled individuals. HSPs, highly sensitive people, are skilled individuals. They have honed their nervous system's 5 senses to be very acute. And each individual is going to have a different sense. So some people say, well, I'm a very kinesthetic learner. I need to use my hands in order to learn. I need to use my movements. That's wonderful. That's someone who's developed that sense of touch in a nice way, in a way that's very helpful for them, or it was very helpful for them in a certain challenging time in their life previously. And now they have that skill. Some people are very good at hearing things. And so intermittent noises or anything that's a harsh noise is going to really, really get to them very quickly, because they have learned to hone their hearing sense, because there was probably a time in their life when that was necessary to have very good hearing, right? Someone who had to know what was going on behind them at all times. And so a lot of these people will hone their hearing, and they'll have very good hearing, but also it turns into what seems like bad hearing if you're out in public, and there's just a whole lot of sensory. It's sensory overload, and it's almost like your system just kind of glitches out, and you don't know what you're hearing. And this is all happening subconsciously, and so it's very easy to be hard on ourselves about that, or to think that we're somehow flawed because of that, and we're not. We're just a little more skilled. Whoops. Sense of taste and textures. Some of us have honed our sense of taste and texture acutely, meaning very well. And that can be problematic if you're trying to introduce foods to your young child, or if you've got a teenager who's going through a stressful time and all of a sudden they have a hard time eating what they normally would eat. So maybe they were okay with broccoli, and they were okay with like beef and shrimp and salad before, but now all they want to eat is noodles and chicken and bread. And that's really just, if they're having a bad day, that's what they'll eat. And it's not that, it could be a stomach problem, but it also could be a texture taste. It's when we get overwhelmed and we're under some stress for some reason, the body will hone up its senses real quick in a stressful situation. So it will end up with heightened senses, right? So your average person is going to go into a grocery store, and they're going to hear the crackling of the chip bags. They're going to hear this person chatting with that person. They're going to smell that person's perfume combined with that person's cologne as they walk around. They're going to be okay with that fluorescent light blinking around the produce section. They're going to be okay with that flashing on the mangoes and the tomatoes in that way. They're going to be fine with that. They're going to be okay when they pass the fish section. They're going to be all right if there's a crying baby and a mom trying to get the baby to stop crying, and they're both really grumpy. They're going to be okay with that. But someone who's been having a really bad day and got triggered by something, not only are they grumpy and impatient, oftentimes if we got spooked enough by something, whether that was we got yelled at, or something bad happened at work, or we almost got hit by a car, or we almost got in an accident, whatever. We're going to walk into that grocery store and our senses are going to be heightened. Okay, so our hearing is going to be heightened. Our sight is going to be heightened. Our taste is going to be heightened. Our sense of touch is going to be heightened. And our sense of smell is going to be heightened. And in a grocery store, that's a big deal. And so as you walk around, that chip bag is going to be highly aggravating. That perfume and that cologne is going to be nothing less than offensive. The fish section, forget about it. No one's getting fish tonight. That kid and that grumpy mom, oh my God, will you take a pill? Just get me out of here. Get me out of here now. What do I need? Okay, I cannot do this. I am out. And you drop everything and you go. I'll try again tomorrow. You're in a high sensory state. The senses get heightened in the state of fight or flight. Did you hear me? The senses, the five senses get heightened in the state of fight or flight. So the more we're able to stay out of fight or flight, the better able we are to be in public settings or flashy settings or noisy, rackety settings or really stinky settings. And that's a general rule. But also, even a very relaxed person who is a very high sensory individual, very sensitive, very they notice a lot. And a lot of it's subconscious, but they notice a lot. They're very observant. It's not a problem, but it does become problematic for them if they're trying to function in a setting where they're having problems and there's one of their senses are glitching out, whether that's really rackety and then they just can't hear anything and they're just like, they kind of freeze up and go, I don't know what you're saying right now. And they're not hearing really basic commands or really basic like, hey, can we get some chips today? Or, hey, oh, we need ketchup. And they're just like, couldn't hear you. And then you get frustrated with them because you think they're not listening to you. They're in a state right now. They're hearing glitched out, right? Same with sense of smell, same with sight. You'll see a lot of the sight. I in particular have problems with this one, where if it's too much coming into me, into my eyes sensorily, I'll start to not see things. So I gotta be real careful. So, and you'll notice if I'm in a state of stress, you notice that I'm in a state of stress. It's very obvious when I'm in a state of stress. It's hard for me to hide it because I have to focus my eyes so much on what's really important. So if I'm going through the grocery store and I'm having to get the mission done and get home, I will see what I have to, but there's a lot of things, like I might not see a sign. I might even walk past a wet floor sign because consciously I've registered it, but it's not a threat. It's not important, so I just don't see it. If there's water on the floor, I'll see that glimmer of water and I'll sidestep it. I will see the important stuff. It's fascinating. I will even see visually, because I'm always looking at people's body language. So I will, even in that sense of like heightened, like don't even want to see it, and I miss the sign that says wet floor that's right beside me, that's big and yellow, I might miss that, but I'm too busy looking at that grumpy person that's about to walk by me because I don't want to get into an encounter with anyone, because that to me is more of a threat than that sign is. And so my subconscious mind is maneuvering the grocery store according to what is the most threatening thing around me. Not that I find grocery stores very threatening, but still, this is what my nervous system does for me. We're on a mission. We're in a state of stress. We're not feeling great right now. There's a sense of vulnerability because of that, because there's a fight or flight response going on in the body because something happened earlier in the day. Now she's got to go on this mission for chicken and eggs and cheese, whatever. Going through the grocery store and I will just soup. But it'll be amazing what I don't notice that's right in front of me, but I'll always notice the things that my subconscious deems important for me to notice. So that if you're dealing with a child or a family member or yourself with heightened senses, no matter what age you're at, no matter what age, this can happen. We can get heightened senses at any age. One of the most common symptoms of developing a high sensory in one or more of your five senses is ditziness. Like ditzy, clumsy, sort of just can't keep a thought together, and you start to wonder if you're getting dementia. I hear that a lot in practice. They don't say it like outright. Some people are bold enough to say it outright, but a lot of people will say, well, my grandmother, and they don't even go any further. And I'm just not, I feel like I have to write things down a lot. And this is a very scary thing for people. So scary that they can't even say it to me directly. This is a big deal. So if you're finding that you're starting to worry about that and you're like, no, I can't. No, I can't even. Nope, I'm not even. But then like every once in a while, you know what? Like I went to the bathroom to grab the toothpaste and bring it back. And I went to the bathroom and I didn't even bring the toothpaste back. Like that's a pretty simple task that I couldn't even do. What's wrong with my brain? Am I going crazy? Do I have dementia? Is there something wrong with me? What's going to happen to me? What am I going to be like in 10 years? And the whole fear cascade starts. Maybe you just got triggered that day and your senses are in overload and your brain glitched out a little. So maybe we'll talk about that. And whatever you're personally experiencing in your life, and this sounds familiar, let's talk about it in the context of what you are personally, as the individual, experiencing, or one of your family members or kids. and we'll help you navigate through it.